Hi everyone, it's Mo at issaquahsewvac, and I'm here today with snippets. I'm here to give you a tip and a deal, and let's think about this. We had to go into daylight savings time this week, and so I just want to let you all know that it's catching up with me, but I did study up on our tip today, and thank you, Danielle Rocket, for your question. Danielle had a question about pins. So I went out and did a little research, and let me tell you what I learned about pins. Just a moment. I'm going to reposition the camera so you can see what we got here. Here we go. I have quite a collection of pins, and I'm going to talk to you about what they are all for. There are so many pins in our collection. And hold on, I'm going to move the microphone. I hope you all can hear me real well. There are so many pins in our collection. I'm going to talk to you about them. The first thing I'm going to say to you is if you have a pin that is bent, throw it away. That's the first thing we should do. There should be quite a collection of pins, though, to accomplish all the crafting and sewing and everything you'd like to do. I'm going to start by talking about the various pins I have sitting in this row. The first one I have here is a very fine pin. It is just so tiny and so fine. They call these applique pins. Very, very fine. And if you do needle turn applique, or you want to pin a small little piece in place, this is a great pin. The brand that we currently have are by Karen K. Buckley, and they're called Perfect Pins. Very, very fine, extra thin stainless steel pins. The other pins that I have looked into are silk pins. Silk pins are also very fine. So when you are looking at your project and what you're actually going to pin, you want to take into consideration the texture or the fabrics that you're actually pinning. And one question you would ask yourself is, if I'm going to puncture a hole into that fabric, is it going to heal when I pull that pin back out? Some of our very fine fabrics like silk and organzas, things like that, you don't want to puncture a very large pin into them because that could scar the fabric or leave that mark. And so silk pins are finer and very sharp and should be used on those type of textiles. When you get into quilting and sewing, then we get into a little bit of a longer pin. So we do have some quilting pins. This one has a glass head top on it. And this one has a silicone head on it. So both of these are not going to melt under the heat of an iron. Both of these are very sharp at the point. And that's what you want, because with quilting sometimes we're going through not just 2 layers of fabric, but sometimes multiple layers of fabric. I like the magic pins. I'll show you, they come in a little container like this, right? I like the magic pins. The silicone head just is large enough to get a good grip so you can pull them out of the way while you're sewing. Kind of a great tip. Magic pins also have a it's a fine tip, but they are a forked pin. I hope you can see that. See how that is a forked pin? These type of pins are really helpful when you are matching up seams. They're also got a lot of credit for helping you align plaids. So if you're trying to get those lines of plaids worked out, maybe you want to go with this type of a pin. But I'm more and more impressed all the time with these silicone head magic pins. Other pins we might have in our life are flower head pins. Flower head pins are very flat, right? Very long, and the top of them are plastic, and these are very commonly used by long arm quilters. When they are putting their quilts up on the frame, they need to pin all those layers down, and you can see how I put these all in a row. That's a row of flower head pins used by long arm quilters because they're pinning their project to the machine frame, and they're not going to be pressing or ironing, so they don't have concern about melting the head of a pin. Very important. There are other pins out there that have plastic heads or decorative pins. This one looks like a button, a plastic head pin. I typically tend to stay away from the plastic heads because I don't want to iron and melt them. But they're very useful. Possibly you are making a pin cushion and you want to put a cute decorative pin. They're used a lot for crafting, for decorative reasons, and another good idea, if you're sitting on a lot of these and you don't know what to do, if you decide to put your fabric on comic book boards, that might be a tip I give you on another day. Save these pins for pinning your fabric to those comic book boards. All right? Now I'm going to move on to pins that we have for quilting. Quilters, when they're going to put their sandwich pieces together, all three pieces, they like to have a bent head pin. Curved, they call them basting pins. Curved basting pins they look just like a regular safety pin, but there's a curve in them. The Clover Company have come up with these Wonder Pins, equally bent. The Wonder Pins do run a little bit more money, but the nice thing is they're colored. And that's another thing you'll find in quilting pins and some of the glass head pins. They're colored for a reason so that you can find them when you want to remove them from your project, because you truly don't want a sewing machine going over a pin. And so when they're large and colorful, they're easy to find and easy to get out of the way. And another tip, that is about the basting pins. The other thing, when you have a curved basting pin, it's a quick release. It's very easy to get the pin out of the way while you're sewing. Love these. We also have Wonder Clips. Wonder Clips are a pinning solution. These, you can see there's a curve to this, and then it's flat on the bottom. Originally, I believe, designed to help us when we're putting binding around, because that pin can support the bulk of our binding while keeping a nice flat edge on the back. I also like using Wonder Clips when I'm doing work with a serger, because boy, do I not want to forget to take a pin out of a serging project. So when a Wonder Clip is in the way, you are going to see it for certain and pull it out of the way. And I like the fact there's a little bit of metal on a Wonder Clip, because one of my favorite tools is the Zirkle, which is a magnetic pin cushion. So it can easily catch my Wonder Clips while I'm sewing and throwing things. Now, if you haven't seen a Zirkle before, well, then I should show you the excitement about that. A Zirkle is designed, it's a heavy magnet, and it's designed so that when you drop your pins in place, they will splay to the outside. So I'm going to demonstrate. Watch. See how that was so much fun, and they all splayed to the outside so that I can get my pin. Now, the alternative might be this type of a bowl where that is just an accident waiting to happen when I have these pins going in all these directions. So I really love the Zirkle, and it's comes in many colors: turquoise, purple, Seahawk green, the pink, lots of different colors, and it's a lot of fun. The other thing a Zirkle is really helpful for is, what if you accidentally spilled all your pins, right? All you need to do is bring your Zirkle, and guess what? Mess cleaned up. Who doesn't love that? So today, folks, we're talking about pins. We're talking about keeping it all together. There are different pins for absolutely everybody. And I'm going to put myself back on camera. There we go. There are a bevy of pins that we have for many, many different reasons. But make sure that, oh, there was one pin that I forgot to tell you about, and that is the T-pin. And it is stuck to the circle here somewhere. This is a T-pin. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see it really well. A T-pin, a very heavy pin, used for many, many different reasons, but here is our use for a T-pin. When you are hooping an embroidery project, right? Here's my fabric all nicely hooped together. Sometimes when I'm doing my embroidery work, the design wants to pull or maybe pucker a little bit. And if I want to stop that from happening, look how I have a T-pin here. T-pin here, a T-pin here, and I might put a couple here, you know, and align them down here, because that T is going to stop the fabric from pulling in my hoop. Is that not a fabulous use of T-pins? Really awesome. So let's see what else I can tell you about today. Of course, the tip was about pins. So, excuse me. The deal is 25% off all pins. Excuse me. 25% off all pins in our store. And the other thing is, if you're looking for machines, come on in and see us. We have some great deals on a couple of pre-owned machines right now. I'm going to tell you right now, it is so rare that we anymore get in pre-owned Destiny, but we do have one. So if that interests you, give us a call right away. We do have one pre-owned Destiny, and I believe there's a pre-owned Brilliant here in the store too. So if that is something you would like to have in your house, we're happy to help you with that too. Again, if you have any questions you would like me to investigate and find out the answer for you, I absolutely will. Until then, I will see you next week here on Snippets to give you a tip and a deal. Thanks, everyone.